Right, hi Nature Fellow, this is for you, and actually this is for like anyone else, any other illustrators or digital artists on SAS who might benefit from this actually. Right, so I got music in the background because I made a video beforehand and it went on for like about 28 minutes and I can't believe the amount of crap I can talk about for so long. Right, so I'm going to try and spend about 3 minutes on each of these images. So let's go. Right, basically your image, like the main problems I had was the distance between these three characters and this dude here. There's a couple of things which adds a little bit of form and depth to this, which are mainly the torches and the staircase, because people can recognise staircases as going up and having distance. And the torches add depth because of the way the light, which you've rendered out, bounces and moves across around these parts. But otherwise, there's a whole problem here that basically if I ripped out this part here and make it a solid grey, it just makes it look as though the guy's actually just standing on top of a ledge with just some of his two pillars. But that was the main problem I had with that. Second problem I had, these torches. You've got these torches here which are lights, which means that these parts, these guys here, should have probably been highlighted. But you haven't, but I mean that's a thing you've missed out. Another thing, these characters here, don't think they're really adding anything to this picture. I mean they're there, they seem to be placed, but not really interacting with this main part. And there's no real explanation as to why they're there, to be honest. It just looks as though they're there sort of possibly for like a sort of framing mechanism kind of thing. But yeah, those are the main problems I had. I mean, otherwise, I mean, decent attempt. That electric part is actually my favourite part, to be honest. Just because the brush strokes you've used are nice. But otherwise, there's a couple of mistakes. There's a fair bit of work to do. Let's just put it that way. Plus with these torches at the top here, I mean you've got the highlights going on the other side, but you haven't got the highlights going on here. This guy here is also amazingly bright for this, considering he's surrounded by darkness. The same goes for those two colours. But yeah, anyway, I said I was going to make my do a little drawing myself and get across some of the things I was talking about. So here's my one. I'll push it up on the website. Zoom in here. There's a couple of things I thought about composition wise. The main one here, like you had the problem with the last one with yours, is that there was no focal point as such. I mean the main focus I presume would be with the evil guy and the three heroes in the foreground. With mine I've tried to make the viewer look mainly towards this part of the scene. And the way I've gone about doing that, there's a filming device here with this archway. Yeah, so basically all of this is negative space, pretty much. And so already you're focused more on this part of the image, everything which is on the opposite side. Another thing, your poses for your characters, you didn't feel very dynamic. As in these characters, there's things going on, like the woman's here getting out a clip for the gun. Guy's clutching himself here because he's wounded. Woman here, you could argue as that one's a little bit stale, I think, actually, because she's got staff and she's protecting herself from this big friggin' fireball going on. But otherwise, yeah, there's some dynamic thing going on here, and plus all these guys are on different level planes. Like these two can arguably be on the same plane, but she's further away. There's also a little dude there, which isn't really cropping up very well here. Fighting some evil minion of this big bad motherfucker in up here. But otherwise, oh yeah, and the distance between him and this little couple of minions here are obvious. So the distance between these ones here, so you can tell that there's a distance going on. Other things as well, the clouds are being darkened to try and bring a bit more light into this part of the scene. But otherwise, yeah, the main focus is going to be probably around that part, which for me personally I wanted and I think works as well. I tried to keep a few things, like the thing he had about there with the heads looking at the person, that's good. Reason being, because basically you actually look at, you do tend to look in pictures at where the heads are looking at, so that adds further, possibly more down there, further to the point that basically your characters are looking at a certain focal point, and that's good. You want them to look at what you want your viewer to look at, so all these characters are looking up towards the scene, bar this guy who's looking up at her. But I mean, these three characters are the ones you probably look at first when it comes to the good guys, not this dude. So I try to keep that in there. But yeah, so that was my stance on it, and I'll post it up and show you later on. Just briefly, I talked about composition. Now, composition isn't too hard to worry about. I made it when I did my final piece for my concept art ICA. I did this afterwards, which was like a breakdown. The main ones I've got here are rule of thirds, composition lines, and focal points. Rule of thirds, basically, rule of thirds is it's kind of like a second sense, second sense, sixth sense, or second nature even, of where things should be placed in an image, or where things, where things should be placed in an image, basically, to make a good composition. Now, the rule of thirds on this one is all being taken up by this character, and when this happens, basically, if there's one character who's taken up all four focal points, not focal points, for the points of the rule of thirds, you can guarantee that basically he's going to be one of the main focal points for your image, if not the main focal point, and which I thought about when I came about to actually making this composition. Another thing is composition lines. And now composition lines, basically you can use your environment to actually make your viewer look at what you wanted them to look at. So basically I've followed some of the composition lines to the environment. If you think about, I'll go for bits and bobs. So basically you've got this part here going up like that. In some ways this guy's hand adds curves into this little focal point here. This part here goes up and towards his his leg. This guy's hand as well comes up from the image, from the side of the image, and sort of makes it go up that way. But it's mainly these buildings here which adds a bit of this negative space going on, which draw the eye into this guy. Excuse me, sorry. So yeah, those are all. This is all about basically how you can use your environment to manipulate, and I'll show you in a second another picture how I've done that. And basically, when you put in the composition lines and the rule of thirds, it just so happens to be that basically your main focal points will be this part and this part. And that's also got something to do with light as well, because there's a strong light coming from this side and there's a strong light coming from this gun, and the eye is very much attracted to light. An example would be like if you can imagine a dark and dingy room, like one of the first things you'll look at is the light source and what that light is bouncing on. Like your eye just really doesn't give a damn about any of the rest of the environment until it's looked at that first. And that could be said for quite a few paintings. I mean, not necessarily, it's not like 100%, yeah, this is what happens all the time, but generally, but generally that's what happens. So yeah, getting off that one, but yeah, coming on to this one, I was talking about focal points and how to draw the eye and stuff. Like the main focal points in this one, I think, are going to be this little building here, this little bit here going on. I think those are going to be the main parts and the bits which it surrounds. Now, when it comes to the environment, this cloud was purposely put in, because basically, well, actually, these clouds have been purposely put in, because basically this goes down like this. I'll draw it in there. And then you've got these clouds here which swoop around like that, come down this way. You've got this archway, this sort of negative space thing going on over here, which goes up this way. You've got this one going, draw here, going that way. And is there anything else? I guess you could sort of put this little bit of mountain chain going up like that. But generally, it focuses on this, which is what I wanted. And this also happens to abide to Will of Fuzz as well. So if I divide this into 3 sections here, very scruffily, but if I divide them into 3 sections, these little buildings here just so happen to be within the Will of Fuzz as well. I think also, oh god, hell no. Let's go back a little bit there. Yeah, so I'll put that down there. I think that's a lot of those as well. So yeah, you've got something going on in these Will of Fuzz, and the same with this little mountain in the background here. And this one doesn't really. I mean, it's within the Will of Fuzz, but it's not. It wasn't really intentional as much as that mountain in the background. But basically, Will of Fuzz is there just to please the eye, so not everything's all around the place. So yeah, so basically you're using the composition lines from your environment to bring the focal point down into this part, and you're also using Will of Fuzz to make a general nice composition. So anyway, I hope these couple of things you should look up on, which I've just been talking about today, the whole Will of Fuzz and composition lines, which can really help sell your piece. And I hope it's been useful to you in some way, and I'll post up those pictures as well, so you can get a good look at it. And yay, this is 11 minutes, that'll be 28 with the last one. So yeah, I hope I haven't bored the crap out of you, and we look forward to seeing some more work, because I'm crazy about this stuff. So yeah, catch you on the forums, man.